Do you know, by the way, that Tucker consults Peter Thiel with every major life decision he makes? Someone should ask Tucker about that.
I have not taken any money from Qatar. I have instead given money to Qatar. And I wonder if you feel that that means I've bought you.
You know, what the hell is this? This guy is wearing the Kabbalah bracelet. He's in Peter Thiel. He's talking to the Qataris. I mean, what the hell's going on? Yeah, it's the silent machine go brrr.
I heard this recently. Do you know, by the way, that Tucker consults Peter Thiel with every major life decision he makes? Someone should ask Tucker about that. The next podcast that he's on, somebody should ask Tucker, what is your relationship with Peter Thiel? Because according to my sources, Tucker consults Peter Thiel on every major life decision. They're far closer than he lets on. They're far better of friends than he will ever tell anybody in public. And as you know, J.D. Vance is Peter Thiel's boy. And Peter Thiel loves a sure bet. If you know anything about Peter Thiel, he likes monopolies. He likes a sure thing.
Yeah, he wrote in his book.
He doesn't like competition. So, J.D. Vance, it's looking a little too competitive in 2028. So now you start to see this little group. You start to see David Sachs, the connector, David Sachs, Vance's future guy, okay? They're very close. If J.D. Vance becomes president, what role is David Sachs going to have? A big one. A big one. So David Sachs says, I don't know about the war. What role will Joe Kent have in a future Vance administration? What do you think? You think Joe Kent will have a role in Vance's administration? So Joe Kent steps out and says, well, I don't want to insult the president, and he was America first, but he isn't anymore.
Yeah, he did glaze a lot in that interview.
Now Tucker's going to interview him.
He wants to play this like both sides thing where he's like, yeah, Israel runs our administration and our government, but at the same time, Trump's a real strong, tough guy. He's a real leader. It's like, okay, dude. That's why we're in this mess to begin with. He's not very strong. He's a weak guy. Maybe this could be the case, but it feels like J.D. Vance he's done. He's cooked. How can you not associate the downfall and the failing of this administration, not to some of it to J.D. Vance? In 2028, people were going to be looking at him and be like, okay, dude, you were on that whole MAGA thing. Like, we don't want anything to deal with you. We don't have anything to do with you. At least that's how I feel. And so maybe there is a push for a whole new candidate. We need a whole new counterweight. I feel like there's probably like dozens of these Peter Thiel sleeper cells, right? That's what I feel like. It's like if I was Peter Thiel and I had billions and billions of dollars at my disposal, maybe even more than that, right? I wouldn't all in on one guy. I would have multiple people that I'm paying for. I would have multiple people on my payroll, multiple people that could step into the limelight to be a president, to take the throne, to take the mantle, of course. And if one of them gets shot down, okay, well, I have multiple others who can step up and fill whatever role we need to in the moment. That's the for sure bet. That's hedging your bet.
Something is going on here. Something is clearly going on between all these people. And it's obvious. Yeah. They are making a play. They are making some kind of play. They want to stop the war in Iran. They don't want to implicate Vance. They want to get Trump to slow it down and get him out of there. Maybe give Vance some cover fire. Maybe they can initiate it, and Vance can come in as the wingman. You know, Trump is in his office. I don't know what to do. They're leaving my administration. Vance puts his hand on his shoulder. Listen, boss, you know we got to leave and finish the war. They're planting all these stories now, saying that Vance was against the war. Vance told Trump not to do it, pleaded with him, all this kind of stuff. It's an op. It's an op. And I know you might think that I'm being picky. I'm not. I know you might think I'm being paranoid. I'm not. It's an op. It's obviously an op because of who is involved. And I would venture to guess that this little CIA referral against the DOJ, I would imagine this is like a counter operation. There is a civil war in the White House about this, and it's a civil war between the camp of J.D. Vance, which needs him to become the president either before 28 or in 28. And they need to rescue him from this catastrophe that Trump has created. And they're throwing a little bit of shade at the Israelis because the Israelis are really hurting Vance here. That's obvious. And I think that really started after my interview with Tucker, to tell you the truth. I did my interview with Tucker in late October, and then at the Republican Jewish Coalition, Mark Levin goes there and says, we're watching to see who disavows who, and we're making our decisions for 28. And the implication was, we're going to watch and see if J.D. Vance fires Buckley Carlson, disavows Tucker, and if he doesn't, then we'll back somebody else. And surely that is happening behind the scenes. And that is why the Israelis are content to see Trump go down in flames and J.D. Vance with him, because then they will rescue Marco Rubio from the rubble and the fire, and he will be their guy, or somebody else. Or they don't even care. But that is what is going on. And that is why Tucker has upped his game against the Israelis, because they are damning Vance to hell after that interview. And that's why they're coordinating this effort to save Vance. And in order to do that, they've got to push back against the Israelis a little bit, but they can't piss Trump off too much. That's obviously what is going on here. And I don't trust any of these people. I don't trust Vance. I don't like Vance at all. And I don't think he should be the guy. And I don't like Tucker. And I don't like Joe Kent. And I don't like any of them. I don't trust any of them. I don't. And I see what they're doing. I don't know who the fuck Tucker is. I don't know what the fuck he is. He's not honest. He's not an honest man. And if he is something other than a guy that just likes his hunting and fishing, well, he didn't tell me. And that's all I have to go off of. So I don't like it. I don't like what I can't see. I don't like what I can't trust, and I can't read him. I came there and I wore my heart on my sleeve, and he, it was a work. I don't like it. And I don't like that he's in Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Russia and Serbia. And I don't like that he's in Iran. And I don't like that his dad is a lobbyist for Hungary, or was. I don't like that his dad was working for the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. I don't like that Tucker is so close with Orban. I don't like that Tucker says he has friends in the Israeli government. I don't like any of that. And I don't like that Joe Kent was in the CIA and lied about it. I don't like that Vance is in bed with Peter Thiel. Not a fan of this stuff. And if these guys are really on my side, I don't know, maybe give me a call. If these guys are really on my side, if these guys are really on the side of America first, hey, I want to be a part of the solution, but it's a little bit hard to be a part of the solution when all you people are so fucking dishonest and throw, in particular, me under the bus always. Hard to get on board.
Yeah, that's the thing is people are dishonest because what they actually want is horrible. You're lying to people. You're lying to the public. You're lying to Nick Fuentes. You're not telling him the truth, even when you are there sitting face to face with him. Well, you're not telling him this stuff because what that means ultimately is that it's probably going to be something that that person doesn't like, right? It's something that the public probably doesn't like. It's something that we're like, yeah, we kind of have to sell you guys out. We're going to have to institute technocratic control. And I don't think people are going to like that. So we're going to have to try and sell this somehow. We have to underhanded. We're going to have to do underhanded tactics. That's what I think ultimately out of this is that it's going to be furthering the technocracy. The AI people, the AI bros, they're going to be given more contracts. They're going to be pushing even harder for this stuff if J.D. Vance gets in or somebody Thiel adjacent gets in. Watch Theo Von ask a question to Tucker on his podcast about Palantir and see how quickly he avoids the topic. Oh, I didn't see that. He will never discuss Thiel, but rails on everything else. Just think about it. Oh, here's the clip. Sweet.
And then you see people jumping up and being like, Muslims shouldn't have jobs in the United States. And it's like, or in the US government. It's like, how is that better than saying Jews shouldn't have jobs or Christians or Buddhists? It's all the same. That kind of thinking is genocidal. It leads to the genocide we're watching right now in Gaza and to many other genocides.
Here we go.
And if drones are just shooting people out in the streets and stuff, like if one of these companies like Palantir, like they were using in Gaza, comes just starts popping off here, which now has a isn't Palantir, they're going to do our data now, aren't they?
Pre-crime, buddy.
Oversee us?
I don't know. I see a lot of people referring to that, but I'm just going to have to plead ignorance on the
And this
details.
is allegedly, but there's articles that allege that that they have weapons attached to drones and that they're able to figure that out. Palantir Technologies holds multiple major contracts with the U.S. government, particularly with the Department of Defense, highlighted by a recent U.S. Army enterprise agreement valued up to $10 billion over 10 years. Let me see.
Need more of those contracts. We need more of those contracts.
Into one for software and data services to boost military readiness.
Now, just keep it. That looks like it's from Wikipedia, which is obviously controlled by CIA.
Bro, I think you're controlled by the CIA, okay? That's crazy he said that. I mean, Wikipedia, hey, but still, that is a crazy thing to say. It seems coordinated to weaken, distract, and internally divide the U.S., to discredit our democracy, institutions, and cause citizens to distrust one another. I think that's absolutely happening. The Thiel, Vance, Tucker would seem to fight globalists, but Silicon Valley would like it to replace with technocrats, which destroy democracy too. Yep, push for GovCorp. They're pushing Israel, owning all politicians in the U.S. at their behest, but look closely, and our politicians, bankers, corporations are all funded by Silicon Valley too. Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter, obviously just my opinion. So yeah, Fuentes gets it, and sometimes it takes time to get there. I'm not even a Fuentes follower, but this resonates. Yes, I think that is what's happening. I think they're bringing up the rear. The Israel lobby is like on its way out, and they're coming in to take its place, the technocrat lobby. And I think ultimately they're going to be working with Israel.
Not to make it about me, but I have been criticized as being a tool of Qatar. And I just want to say what you already know, which is I've never taken any.
As he sits in Qatar.
And don't plan to. I am, however, tomorrow buying a place in Qatar, both because I am
pay a high check.
in Doha.
Bro is not
and
beating the allegations.
I like the city. I think it's beautiful, but also to make the statement that I'm an American and a free man, and I'll be wherever I want to be, which I think is important. But that does kind of leave us in a place where I have not taken any money from Qatar. I have instead given money to Qatar. And I wonder if you feel that that means I've bought you and you will now spew my propaganda.
What?
Thank you.
You know, he's one side of his mouth saying, I'd never taken a single dollar from Qatar, but I've given you guys money. I'm thinking about buying a place here. What? Bro, what? Who that? You know, what the hell is this? This guy is wearing the Kabbalah bracelet. He's in Peter Thiel. He's talking to the Qataris. I mean, what the hell's going on? What is happening? Who is Tucker? His dad's in the CIA, running Voice of America, running propaganda. He's on Fox News. It's honestly just, it's insane. It is insane. I don't know how anybody can really trust this guy. Agree with the things he says. Listen to the talking points, and what's true is true. That's fine, but do not buy into him. Do not buy into Tucker Carlson as a whole. The powers that be need to approve of who's running for president. Yes, and to some degree, they need us to approve of them as well, because it's not rape if you consent to it. Remember that. It's much easier to catch flies with honey. That's just insane. Do you guys have a house in Qatar? I've never met a single Qatari person ever. I don't know if I've ever spoken to one in my life. But this guy, this American patriot, he's gonna buy a house there because he's a free man. I don't trust this. Yeah, I don't trust him either. All right, I'm off the Tucker bandwagon. I'm off the Tucker train. Tucker train has left the building. I think based off of tonight, what I've seen, I think Fuentes elucidates some very interesting connections, some of which I already knew, but pushing further with Joe Kent stuff, very interesting. This Qatari clip, I've seen this, you know, all the other preponderance of evidence. I think I'm off it. Tucker's a shill. Tucker's a bum. It leads me to believe that Qatar probably has some sort of influence over him, or somebody in the Middle East has influence over him, and maybe they're influencing. Sometimes I just think, you know, our government's just one big business, and it's like, who has the most shares, right? Does Qatar now have shares in it? Well, this Wall Street Journal article from 2018, mind you, says the new lobbying. Qatar targeted 250 Trump influencers to change U.S. policy. Blockaded by Mideast neighbors, the emirate deployed an unconventional lobbying campaign to win over an unconventional U.S. president. Very interesting. This was during his first administration when this article came out. Now we're almost 10 years later. I wonder how much more lobbying they've done. You just don't know. We just don't know who the hell's being paid by who. And you have to run off the assumption that everybody's paid. Even the people I like and I think they're good, it's like, I still have that in the back of my mind. Okay, is this person taking money from someone? At least maybe once you get to a certain threshold of followers and whatnot, maybe you flip over into you harness enough of a following that we want to put money into you, and we want you to start chilling for our bullshit. Interesting perspective about America being a business with foreign investors owning shares. Yeah, I think that's what it is. You know, who they elect as president is kind of like, who's the new CEO? Who's going to bring to fruition the plans of the investors? And so I think you get all these warring factions. It's, I think, a lot more complex. I think the CCP obviously, I think, has their position in our government. I think Qatar has a position in our government. Israel has the biggest position, I think, in our government. These different foreign entities who are vying for power, trying to get their guys in office, and maybe they make deals with each other. Maybe there's overlap with the Qatari government and Peter Thiel. It's tough to see from our angle. It's speculation because of course, nobody says it. Of course, nobody registers with FARA, right? Of course not. So you basically you're just looking at what they say in the public, and we have to kind of speculate on what's going on here. But I don't think I'm completely far off on what I'm saying. And then we got the lady herself, Whitney Werbb. She says it's infinite PSYOP season. Yeah, it's the PSYOP machine go brrr. The main targets are those who are unhappy with the current system, would-be dissidents. Yes, I think that's true. The people, you're going to try and corral these people. What did they say? What was the World Economic Forum? Wasn't that their motto for this year? Or was it last year? It was rebuilding trust. They're trying to attempt to rebuild trust among people in our institutions. Well, maybe not our institutions of old, but maybe new institutions, new people, new forms of governance. The goal is to distract them so they don't do anything real about it and divert them into a new, more convenient corral. Yes. Stay vigilant and maybe don't immediately trust the ex-CIA people suddenly popping up to tell you what you want to hear. Yep. The guys on the scene, Professor Zhangs of the world, are just they're on the scene in the nick of time to tell you exactly what's going on, what you need to hear. Oh, okay. And you need to vote for J.D. Vance in 2028 to avoid the eschaton. Okay. What? Peter Thiel, very good man. Peter Thiel, very good man. Why would CIA royalty Buckley Carlson retweet this? Ooh, interesting. I mean, she can't control who retweets her shit, but why would he? That's an interesting point. Why would he retweet that? We're in this just fog, man. Maybe because she's right. Yes, she is right. And these people will affirm that she's right and everything's a psyop. So you like, but you don't know, what's underneath. There's nothing to go off of. Everything's like sand. Everything's like water. The propaganda is crazy. If you guys don't feel the heat signatures of propaganda on all these people, man, it's, you're not looking.